All right, good evening. We'll call this meeting to order for the February 27th, 2025 Apple Valley City Council meeting. For any members of the audience who have signed up to speak, we'd ask that you come to the podium when your item is called and address the council. The first item on our agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance, and I'd ask everyone to rise and join us in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. The next item on our agenda is to approve the agenda, and Tom, I know you've got a couple changes to talk to us about, so go ahead.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Yes, we do have some revisions to tonight's agenda. Some of these items were sent to you yesterday, and one is added here tonight. So I'll walk through those quickly. On your consent agenda, on item 4.0, this is a purchase order for sports lighting related to the pickleball courts, the new expansion of the pickleball courts, and you have an updated attachment related to that item that was distributed yesterday. Tonight in front of you on 5B on the regular agenda, this is an updated resolution related to the McDonald's development proposal. Also on the regular agenda, item 5C, you have an updated attachment related to the mixed-use business campus zoning district. That was distributed yesterday. And then we also have an updated calendar of upcoming events, and that is item 7 on your agenda.
Perfect. Any questions on the agenda? If so, we'll look for a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved.
Second.
Motion from Councilmember Hebert, a second from Councilmember Bergman. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed. Agenda passes. The next item on our agenda is our audience participation portion of the meeting. This is for items not on the regular agenda. We have a total of 10 minutes for this item. And Christine, I didn't see anybody signed up. Is there anyone who would like to speak in the public participation portion? All right, seeing no one, we'll move on to our consent agenda. These items are considered routine and will be enacted with a single motion unless a council member or a citizen requests to pull an item. And I know Councilmember Hebert, there's an item you'd like to discuss during staff updates, but don't necessarily want to pull, and that is item
D.
Item 4D, which is the scholarship program for Parks and Rec. And so as we get through the rest of the items, we'll just grab that at the end and just have staff do a quick update on it if that works.
Yes, thank you, Mayor.
Okay, perfect. Council members, are there any other items you would like to pull or discuss separately?
No.
All right, citizens, any items to pull from consent? All right, seeing none, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Motion from Councilmember Hebert, a second from Councilmember Bergman. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Consent items all passed. The first item on our regular agenda, make sure I get the right regular agenda here with the changes, is item 5A, which is EEZY Adventure LLC, Urban Air Apple Valley. And this is a public hearing, and I think Christina is already up here and ready. Look at that. Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Tonight before you, you have an application from EEZY Air Adventure LLC doing business as Urban Air Apple Valley. The application is for an on-sale wine and beer license at their soon-to-be open location at 7370 153rd Street West. The public hearing has been properly noticed in the paper. Police and fire departments have conducted the required background checks and have found no reason at this time to deny the license. So tonight we would ask that you hold a public hearing and then consider adoption of a resolution approving the license. And we do have the business owner, Wes Harold, here as well, and I'm sure he'd be happy to introduce himself to the council and to the community.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any questions for Christina?
No.
No? All right, we'll take the public hearing, we'll take the action, then we'll invite Wes up to tell us about his business. So first of all, we'll go ahead and open our public hearing for the liquor license for EEZY Adventure LLC. Anyone who would like to speak to the public hearing? Anyone who would like to speak to this public hearing? One last opportunity. All right, seeing none, we'll close the public hearing and we'll look for a motion to adopt a resolution approving the issuance of on-sale wine and 3.2% malt liquor licenses. Wow, that was hard to say.
So moved.
Second.
Motion from Councilmember Bergman and a second from Councilmember Hebert. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 And opposed. The liquor license passes. And Wes, why don't you come on up, introduce yourself, and tell us about your business? As I mentioned before the meeting, the number one question I get lately is when are they going to open? So maybe you can answer that for
That
us.
is a good question I can finally answer after a long time. We're set to have our friends and family tomorrow, Friday, soft opening on Saturday, the 1st, and then March 22nd is going to be the grand opening. So
Okay.
Urban Air Adventure Park is for all ages. We do a lot of birthday parties. It's where you can go in, trampolines, zip line, climbing walls, things like that, activities to do. And we also host events there as well. So we have a cafe, we serve food, pizza, wings, things like that. So then when parents come in there with their kids, they can, have a glass of wine or a beer and the kids can play. So.
Wonderful. And then I think you brought some flyers for your friends and family event with you.
I
Is that
did.
correct?
Yep.
You want to just leave them with the city clerk? We'll happily leave a few of those around for you. So
Yep, all you gotta do is scan the QR code and then you can register and then the event's free for anybody that comes then, so.
perfect. Thank you. We look forward to seeing you open, and welcome to Apple Valley.
Yeah, good luck.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thanks, Wes. Next item on our regular agenda is 5B, and that's McDonald's at Orchard Place, and Sydney's got this one for us.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Tonight I'll be presenting to you the requested land use applications for the proposed McDonald's at Orchard Place. I'm gonna turn this thing on, I guess. As indicated earlier, there is a slight change to the resolution for the conditional use permit, and I'll go over the slight change later in the presentation. Specifically, the requested applications for tonight are the rezoning of Outlot A Orchard Place 4th Edition from sand and gravel to retail business, the subdivision of a 5.2 acre outlot into 2 new properties, the conditional use permit for a Class 2 restaurant with drive-through and a setback variance of 800 feet to allow a Class 2 restaurant within 1,000 feet of a residential use. This would be applicable to Lot 2, Block 1 only. And then the site plan building permit authorization for 3,859 square foot McDonald's restaurant, again applicable to Lot 2, Block 1 only. The existing outlot is generally located at the northwest corner of Pilot Knob and 155th Street West. Just west of the site is Chafin Vet, north Health Partners, and south is Lunds and Byerly's. The comprehensive guiding for the outlot is mixed business campus, and all applicable applications are consistent with the comprehensive plan. The existing outlot is zoned sand and gravel, and the entire outlot would be rezoned to retail business. Outlot A of Orchard Place 4th Edition would be subdivided into 2 lots. Lot 1 to the north would be about 1 acre, and Lot 2 to the south would be about 1.5 acre, and it would be the McDonald's restaurant property. Both properties meet the minimum area requirements for the retail business zone. This is the original site plan that was submitted by the applicant and reviewed by the Planning Commission. There were anticipated updates to this site plan that the Commission was made aware of the night of the public hearing. The primary changes to the site plan, which you will see on the next slide, include the moving the sidewalk that is currently shown here along Pilot Knob, moving this trash enclosure location, and then just a couple of modifications to the parking lot area. This site plan, as well as the revised site plan, were both reviewed and meet all applicable setbacks, area standards, and parking requirements for the retail business zone. Here's the revised site plan showing the anticipated changes. The sidewalk is now shown on the west side of the site connecting to the trail along 155th Street West. As you saw earlier, it was previously shown here along Pilot Knob. The existing grades and private utility locations limited the feasibility of placing the sidewalk along the berm and connecting to the intersection at Pilot Knob. The next change would be the moving the trash enclosure location here, where it was originally shown here, The applicant has stated that the reason for this change is just the preference of the restaurant operations, and then it shows a couple of employee parking stalls here. The last change would be to this northeast section of the parking lot. A stop bar was added here, and a striped turnaround area was added up here, and that was to provide just a transition from the one-way traffic change from the drive-through lane as you come into the parking lot area. The utility plan was reviewed by the engineering department, and any relevant comments would be in their memo. And then just in general, all utilities will come from English Avenue. The landscaping plan shows the addition of about 21 trees and a variety of shrubs, grasses, and other plantings. A couple of items to note are that the plans show coniferous shrubs and grasses along the berm. The applicant has stated that this will aid in buffering the drive-through from the adjacent residential properties along with the berm. Additionally, this plan does not show the updated trash enclosure location, so there is, it's anticipated that there will be a few changes to these plantings in this area. As with other developments, the applicant will be required to provide a nursery bid list prior to the issuance of a building permit, and that would be to confirm the project meets the 2.5% landscaping requirements. A Class 2 restaurant is allowed within the RB zone so long as it meets the performance standard that it is at least 1,000 feet from residential or institutional uses. The separation distance is measured from property line to property line. The proposed McDonald's restaurant would be 200 feet from the nearest residential property, Bowdoin Senior Living. The applicant is requesting a setback variance from this performance standard. There are also additional single-family properties that are within the 1,000 feet from the proposed restaurant. The applicant has noted that while the nearest measured distance is 200 feet, property line to property line, the actual distance from the restaurant structure to the residential structure is over 400 feet. It is also separated by a pilot knob and a stormwater pond here. Another physical separation between the proposed McDonald's and the adjacent residential properties is a berm. The applicant is proposing to utilize this berm as well as the additional landscaping to act as a buffering mechanism to shield headlights and partial view of the drive-through area from the adjacent properties. When considering variance requests, it must be determined that there is a practical difficulty in meeting the strict application of the city code. The 1,000-foot setback is meant to mitigate potential adverse impacts of a Class 2 restaurant like noise, odor, lighting, and traffic. For this request, the applicant has provided a detailed narrative that addresses each of the potential impacts when adjacent to residential. The restaurant could not be placed anywhere on the site without still needing a variance, meaning that the strict application of the separation performance standard would render this site unusable for this specific use, even though our comp plan is guided for this use or a similar type retail business use. The applicant made significant updates to the building elevations after receiving feedback from the commission and suggestions from staff. The building materials include 2 different brick colors, an aluminum batten, and metal panels. The updated design is meant to complement and fit in with the surrounding area. The drive-through elevation where there was added metal panels to provide vertical articulation, and then as well as the 2 different brick colors to add a horizontal articulation. The north elevation would be the entrance for customers coming from the parking lot. The design and building materials are consistent on all 4 sides of the building as required by city code. The public hearing for the rezoning, subdivision, and CUP were held on January 15th. There were no public comments received the night of the hearing. The applicant and city staff provided answers to the commissioner's questions the night of the hearing as well. With no outstanding questions or public comments, a recommendation of approval was provided by a 6-to-1 vote on all motions. For tonight, the recommended actions are as shown on the slide. I do want to note the slight change to the motion for the CUP and variance. There has been a slight modification to findings number 4 and 6 in the resolution pertaining to the berm grade. The berm grade varies slightly in elevation from 7 to 10 feet. This was not reflected accurately in the draft resolution, so staff is recommending that the motion for tonight includes an amendment to the findings. Staff does not have concerns with the slight change as it better reflects the plan submitted by the applicant. And with that, we do have the applicant here tonight, and I can stand for any questions as well. Thank you.
Sydney, nice job. Thank you for that very thorough and presentation. Do we have any questions for Sydney?
That's good.
All right, we have a number of motions to work our way through here, so yeah, if you don't mind leaving that up, that'll help with the change. So we'll go ahead and just work our way down the list. We're looking for a motion to pass an ordinance approving the rezoning of Outlot A, Orchard Place, 4th Edition, from SG Sand and Gravel to RB Retail Business. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion from Councilmember Hebert, a second from Councilmember Bergman. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item 1 passes. Item 2 is to adopt the resolution approving a subdivision by preliminary plat of Outlot A, Orchard Place, 4th Edition, into 2 lots by McDonald's at Orchard Place. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion from Councilmember Bergman, a second from Councilmember Hebert. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed? All right, item 2 passes, and we have number 3, which is to adopt the resolution with an amendment to finding number 4 and finding number 6, approving a conditional use permit for a Class 2 restaurant with drive-through and an 800-foot variance to reduce the required separation distance for a Class 2 restaurant from a residential use on Lot 2, Block 1, McDonald's at Orchard Place.
So moved.
Second.
Motion from Councilmember Hebert, a second from Councilmember Bergman. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And our last item is to adopt the resolution approving a site plan building permit authorization for a 3,859 square foot McDonald's restaurant on Lot 2, Block 1, McDonald's at Orchard Place.
So moved.
Second.
Motion from Councilmember Bergman and a second from Councilmember Hebert. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All those items are approved. I think that takes care of everything. Sydney, thank you.
Thank you.
We do have the applicant here. Is anything you would like to add? Not required. Your items are approved. We don't have to call you up, but certainly wanted to give you the opportunity if there was.
Not a lot to add, just thank you very much for your consideration, and we're really excited to be a part of the Apple Valley community.
Thank you all. Appreciate you being here this evening as well. So, thank you. All right, that brings us to 5C, which is to pass an ordinance amending Chapter 155 of the City Code, adding Section 155.310. And Tim is up here for this. He brought his water. He's expected to be here a while, I think.
No, I need it because I'm fighting something off. Good evening, Mayor, members of council. Tonight, we are presenting for your consideration the MUBC Mixed Use Business Campus Ordinance. We're asking for your permission to pass an ordinance establishing, again, a new ordinance for a new MUBC, Mixed Use Business Campus Zoning District. So this is just zoning. We're also requesting to waive the second reading. This is a specifically amendment to Chapter 155 of the City Code. So this is establishing, again, a new MUBC district in our community. The district hopes to incorporate a mix of permitted, conditional, and accessory uses, along with some specific area and performance requirements. The MUBC aligns with the city's current 2040 comp plan and may be used to rezone areas currently designated as MBC. So remember, we have zoning and land use. MBC is a mixed business campus under the 2040 plan. This MUBC can also be applied to other areas if they're guided for MBC. Right now, I'm going to show, and I'll get into a mapping that shows where that MBC is currently located. Once a comp plan for the community is adopted, a zoning district must be established or amended to achieve the development goals outlined in this plan. Some of you, I'm sure, were aware or around when the 2040 plan was adopted a few years ago. So this purple area that you see up on the screen, it's the highlighted area from the main map, is essentially the bulk or major areas of the AVR Rockport pad, gravel pad. Again, this is the underlying land use, and this basically sets the benchmark, the table for the rezoning or zoning that goes above it. At this time, this area is currently zoned SG, that's sandy sandstone color version here. There's also a few areas currently zoned P institutional, The A agricultural were the two former homesteads that used to sit up there. The RB was I believe was set aside for a proposed Menards at one time, but this is the area that is primarily the focus. So again, a substantial amount of this sand and gravel is currently designated under the MBC mixed campus land use. This designation is intended to support a high-quality business environment for general and corporate offices, research and development facilities, light manufacturing, showrooms, medical offices, healthcare. Additionally, the MBC was to allow for a mix of retail and commercial services, primarily to support those uses along the County Road 42 area. This map is referred to, this is officially adopted as part of our 2040 plan. It's a figure 4.2 Orchard Place concept. As you're seeing the different color schemes, off to the right are the different uses that we've identified that we would like to see provided for in these areas. Again, this builds upon the foundation of the MBC. This is a concept, and right now, this map is being requested to be modified in the future. The MUBC district would facilitate by permitting a variety of uses, as I said, office, healthcare, hotels, restaurants, banks, financial establishments. Conditional uses would include certain office developments, daycare centers, light industrial manufacturing uses, and includes language that provides for data centers. I want to emphasize, though, tonight, you may have heard, unless you've been under a rock, that there's a proposed data center being proposed for the city. This approval of this district does not approve that data center. What you're doing is just establishing the zoning for it. We also have under 155.003 two new definitions. These are commercial recreation and data centers. Again, these are, the commercial recreation was something that staff felt it was necessary or needed because we're starting to see a lot of commercial recreational uses come into the city or requesting. Data center, obviously for the reasons just spoken to recently. This would be the purple area that would be the proposed or tentative boundary of the MUBC. This basically encompasses or encumbers everything that you saw on that previous purple MBC. Again, the comp plan was adopted in July 2020. It provides for those guidance. City staff determined the proposed MABC ordinance is consistent with the 2040 plan, and that's why we're here tonight. We're creating that consistent with the 2040 plan. On January 15th, the Planning Commission reviewed a separate request from Rockport to amend that 2040 plan, seeking to revise the commercial retail guidance and move reference to that 4.2 Orchard Place conceptual map. Those are not here tonight. Those are going to be coming in before you later. This amendment is related to separate applications for a proposed data center. Should this amendment be approved, most of the sand and gravel areas would remain under the 2040 comp plan, MBC land use. Additional amendments to the MBC ordinance may be necessary to accommodate those specific site standards for the tech park. If the PC recommends approval of the proposed comp plan, including those land use guide revisions and text changes, that request will come back to you, and then you have a choice to either send it on to Met Council or stop it in its tracks. Once it goes through Met Council review, it comes back to you for a final review and determination. Even if the requested comp plan amendment is not approved, this MUBC zoning district remains valid and in compliance with the current 2040 plan. As Mr. Lowell indicated, we did do some little minor tweaking on the proposed draft ordinance that went out last week or Monday. We've added here in highlighted red, manufacturing on page 1 of your packet, under the purpose, under conditional use permits. We got rid of outdoor climate, weathering, environmental. We didn't know what the heck that meant, so we just got rid of it. We don't think we're going to need one here. Accessory uses, we added the time, and we got rid of the language on new homes and housing development, because housing would not be allowed under the MUBC or the MBC land use. The performance standards features an integral part of the development. We also added this additional language on the data center regulations for pollution or noise. We feel that these are little bit more solid to back us up on the expected noise that could be received from this proposed data center. We also have, took out support sustained. So sustained is now removed, and with or without SWAT inserts is prohibited. It's step back recesses, changes material patterns, textures. This is for the berm, wall, or fence. So on February 5th, the Planning Commission did conduct a public hearing, sorry for that, on that public hearing, on the new MUBC ordinance. It was recommended unanimously to approve the MUBC. Tonight, we're asking to pass the ordinance establishing the MUBC as presented and recommend waiving the second reading. I have questions, or I can flip to any page of the ordinance if you so choose.
Tim, I have one question. If you can go to page 3 of the ordinance that was necessary, I should have brought this up before the meeting, but I did not get a chance to see it. So we have, if you look on your ordinance, 4E calls daycare center out as a commercial retail use, and then condition, if I go to C1B, it also calls daycare centers out as a conditional use. So is it a permitted use or a conditional use? You see where I'm
Yes.
looking at there? Do we need to fix that before we pass this so we're clear whether daycare centers are conditional or permitted?
So, Mayor, if you look up on, I'm going to use a pointer here. So under, this is subheading 4, commercial
Yep.
retail use. So daycare centers are allowed. However, under office uses, daycare centers would be
Okay.
a conditional use.
Okay.
So any
Gotcha.
office use where for any office use land guidance area, a daycare center would be considered.
Thank you.
conditional
That's the
use.
clarity I think I
Yep.
needed as to where it was, so that helps.
And there's certain, and it kind of repeats itself throughout the ordinance too, but start with the numbered heading and then you work your way down.
So what happens when you skim things quickly is you miss context, right? So, thank you.
You're welcome.
Other questions for Tim? I think before we jump into this, just because this has gotten some attention, can we just talk a little bit about, what it takes to approve the project that is not in front of us tonight, right? The data center that was been a planning commission.
Yep.
There's multiple steps, right? This ordinance is necessary to get there, but this doesn't permit construction of or approve
Correct.
even that use at this point. So what are the other pieces that are ongoing in a 30,000 foot?
That's a great question. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. So right now, there's, in review, we have a land use amendment from the Rockport owners. They're requesting to remove that, what we refer to that 4.2, the block plan, the multi-concept plan. They'd like to remove that and just simply refer to that area as MBC, Mixed Business Campus. With that in mind, the data center would be allowed to go up to those areas along County Road 42 and Pilot Knob. We feel that without getting too far ahead of ourselves, there are areas in this pit area, this gravel mining area, that are, adequately bermed, plus the existing elevations might lend itself to helping screen or buffer those areas for that proposed data center. The current data center project, they are requesting a rezoning, a new plat, a conditional use permit, and,
Comp plan amendment?
thank you, comp plan amendment.
So, and all of those are still at planning commission and haven't
Yes.
even made their way out of public hearing yet, much less coming
Correct.
here. So I just want people to be clear if we're watching at
Yes.
home or read minutes later, that this is an administrative step that needs to be done,
Correct.
but this does not approve the project that's been talked about at planning commission.
Exactly.
Thank you.
So the expectation is that data center will be rezoning their land to MUBC, Mixed Use Business Campus. And it, as we indicated, a data center is a conditional use, so that will also be following as well.
We've been talking about this ordinance for going on 3 years, I think, if not longer, so
And there's an explanation there, I think.
absolutely, it's
You-
not easy, but.
No,
yeah.
and I know there was a lot of back and forth with the attorneys and city staff and the owners. And we were, since my time here, we have been getting hit constantly from some great MSP Indeed requests for information or select sites. And we are simply trying to work and make sure that we could react to those and adjust or flex if we needed to in this ordinance. it came down to the point where, all right, we're ready, and here comes this big data center project. So we hope form follows function here. We're doing the right thing by getting an ordinance in place, because that has to be in place, and we're there. And this will set that, that district up for people to come in and ask for it now.
And also don't want to overlook what's happened in the market since we originally envisioned what this gravel mining operation might be, right? This was medical office, corporate campus, right? Some of those kind of uses that just don't exist, and I don't know when they're coming back. Possibly not in my lifetime, and I'm not overstating that. I don't know if those uses will be out of the ground.
That's true.
While I am still out of the ground. So, at that, do you want to put are there any other questions for Tim?
We can't meet that statement.
Yeah. If not, let's work through these couple actions we have. The first one, I'm sorry, the first one was your hearing. That's already done, so.
We've already done the hearing, yeah.
I'm sorry, we just need to pass an ordinance establishing the new mixed-use business campus zoning district with a recommendation that we waive the second reading. Do we have that motion, or would someone like to make a different one?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilmember Bergman, a second from Councilmember Hebert. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. And by the way, staff, thanks.
So that item carries, and yes, thanks to staff for many years of adjusting as the market has adjusted on this one, so. Our next item is staff and council updates. And I know we pulled but we did want to talk about the Parks Scholarship piece a little bit. And I don't know if Eric, if you come talk a little bit about this. And I'll let Lisa tell you why she wanted to talk about it, so.
Thanks, Eric. I'm just, again, really excited for this new program that you can share people, and just wanted to highlight this for all of our residents, this great new program to enjoy our parks programs and facilities. So I'll let you kind of share what it is, and again, thank all the people who are involved with it. So
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't want to steal any thunder.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, earlier this evening on the consent agenda, you approved the ability for the Park and Recreation Department to have a scholarship program. And this is designed to help residents who might be experiencing some financial difficulty so that they could still have access to some of the Parks and Recreation programs that we offer as a city that costs money. And so, again, our program is designed for residents of Apple Valley. They will have to come to the Park and Recreation office at the Apple Valley Community Center to apply. There will be limits of $100 per individual to participate or to use towards programs. There'll be some other restrictions, and I'm not going to go into those details this evening. And I also want to highlight the fact that the Apple Valley American Legion Post 1776 is helping with this program. They have contributed $5,000 and have indicated that they are interested in donating up to $20,000 annually, and that will depend on how their gambling operation is going on a year-to-year basis. So we're very excited about the partnership with the Legion, and we certainly want to recognize them for that contribution, because without it, we're probably not offering this opportunity to residents of Apple Valley. So,
Great, thank you. Any questions for Eric?
I just also want to say, I believe that this idea came forward from Parks and Rec staff. And again, just really acknowledging the opportunity to make sure that all of our residents can enjoy the great programs and parks and facilities. And if, that financial barrier, hopefully we can eliminate and reduce that so people can enjoy all the great things that we have. So again, I believe it came up through your staff, and I think it's fabulous for our residents. So,
thank you.
And again, a huge shout out and thank you to the American Legion.
Yep.
Thank you. Appreciate the update. Staff, anything else?
Mr. Mayor, maybe one more. Obviously, the seasons are changing. The outdoor skating season has now officially ended. We do have kicked off our outdoor, our annual tree and shrub sale is now underway. More details are available on the city's website, but this is something that our citizens look forward to every year. It's always a sold-out event. You can pre-order a certain number of trees, a certain number of shrubs through this program, and pick them up and plant them. We have 6 different deciduous trees, 3 different evergreen trees, 5 different types of shrubs, and 3 types of fruit trees, which are brand new this year, including Honeycrisp apples. So go onto our website, take a look at the large variety of plant stock that we have ready. This is all an effort to diversify the plantings that we have in our community, and this is a good way to improve neighborhoods by planting additional vegetation. So encourage people to apply to that program before things sell out.
Thank you, thank you. Council, any items? I'll just mention one. We often talk about Public Works, right? And they do a lot for us, and when they do it best when nobody notices. But one night this weekend, their work certainly got noticed as everybody was out there overnight dealing with a water main break, right, all through the overnight hours at Pennock and 42, and just appreciate the work done. By the time morning traffic was moving, the road was back open, and I didn't hear a lot of other negative impacts. And so just thanks everybody who I'm sure gave up an evening, right, and then some to get everything back operational again. So thanks everybody for that one. It's appreciated. The next item is our calendar of upcoming events, and I just need a date for our next council meeting. Our next informal city council meeting is Thursday, March 13th at 5:30, and the next regular city council meeting is Thursday, March 13th at 7 p.m. Do I have a motion to approve the calendar?
So moved.
Second?
Motion from Councilmember Hebert, a second from Councilmember Bergman. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed? And do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
A motion from Councilmember Bergman and a second for, this is actually harder and there's only 2 of you. And a second from Councilmember Hebert. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Thank you. We're adjourned.